Sure, Indian history is full of kingdoms that conquered other kingdoms. Some of the most notable examples include the Maurya Empire 322 to 185 BCE. The Mauryan Empire was one of the first empire to unite large parts of the Indian subcontinent. It was founded by Chandragupta Maurya, who conquered several kingdoms in northern India. His son, Bindusara, continued his father's expansionist policies and conquered more kingdoms in central and southern India. The Mauryan Empire was at its peak under Ashoka the Great, who ruled from 273 to 232 BCE. During Ashoka's reign, the empire extended from Afghanistan to Bangladesh and from Nepal to the Deccan. The Gupta Empire 320 to 550 CE. The Gupta Empire was another great empire that ruled over large parts of the Indian subcontinent. It was founded by Chandragupta I, who defeated the Kushan Empire and conquered several kingdoms in northern India. The Gupta Empire reached its peak under Samudragupta, who ruled from 335 to 375 CE. During Samudragupta's reign, the empire extended from the Indus River in the west to the Brahmaputra River in the east and from the Himalayas in the north to the Narmada River in the south. The Delhi Sultanate 1206 to 1526 CE. The Delhi Sultanate was a series of Muslim dynasties that ruled over northern and central India. It was founded by Qutb-ud-Din Aibak, who was a general in the army of Muhammad Ghori. The Delhi Sultanate reached its peak under Alauddin Khilji, who ruled from 1296 to 1316 CE. During Alauddin's reign, the Sultanate extended from Bengal in the east to Gujarat in the west and from the Himalayas in the north to the Deccan in the south. The Mughal Empire 1526 to 1857 CE. The Mughal Empire was another great empire that ruled over large parts of the Indian subcontinent. It was founded by Babur, who was a descendant of Timur. Babur defeated the Delhi Sultanate in 1526 and established the Mughal Empire. The Mughal Empire reached its peak under Akbar the Great, who ruled from 1556 to 1605 CE. During Akbar's reign, the empire extended from Afghanistan in the west to Bangladesh in the east and from Kashmir in the north to the Deccan in the south. These are just a few examples of the many kingdoms that conquered other kingdoms in Indian history. It is important to note that the concept of invasion is a complex one, and there is no single definition that is universally accepted. In the context of Indian history, it is often difficult to say definitively whether or not a particular kingdom's conquest of another kingdom can be considered an invasion. Sure, here are some more Indian kingdoms that would be considered invaders of other Indian kingdoms. The Chola Empire 850 to 1279 CE. The Chola Empire was a Tamil dynasty that ruled over southern India. They were known for their powerful navy and their conquests in Sri Lanka and Southeast Asia. The Cholas also conquered several kingdoms in southern India, including the Pandya Empire and the Rashtrakuta dynasty. The Kakatiya Empire 1083 to 1323 CE. The Kakatiya Empire was a Telugu dynasty that ruled over central and southern India. They were known for their distinctive architecture and their military prowess. The Kakatiyas conquered several kingdoms in central and southern India, including the Yadava dynasty and the Sena dynasty. The Bahmani Sultanate 1347 to 1527 CE. The Bahmani Sultanate was a Muslim dynasty that ruled over central and southern India. They were founded by Alauddin Bahman Shah, who was a general in the army of Muhammad Tughlaq. The Bahmani Sultanate reached its peak under Firuz Shah Bahmani, who ruled from 1397 to 1422 CE. During Firuz's reign, the Sultanate extended from Gujarat in the west to Andhra Pradesh in the east and from the Vindhya Mountains in the north to the Krishna River in the south. The Vijayanagara Empire 1336 to 1646 CE. The Vijayanagara Empire was a Hindu dynasty that ruled over southern India. They were founded by Harihara I and Bukka Raya I, who were two brothers who escaped from the Delhi Sultanate. The Vijayanagara Empire reached its peak under Krishna Devaraya, who ruled from 1509 to 1529 CE. During Krishna Devaraya's reign, the empire extended from Karnataka in the west to Andhra Pradesh in the east and from Tamil Nadu in the south to Telangana in the north. The Maratha Empire 1674 to 1818 CE. The Maratha Empire was a Hindu dynasty that ruled over central and western India. They were founded by Shivaji Maharaj, who was a brilliant military strategist and tactician. Shivaji Maharaj defeated the Mughal Empire in several battles and established the Maratha Empire. The Maratha Empire reached its peak under Peshwa Baji Rao I, who ruled from 1720 to 1740 CE. During Baji Rao's reign, the empire extended from Gujarat in the west to Bengal in the east and from the Vindhya mountains in the north to the Tungabhadra river in the south. These are just a few examples of the many Indian kingdoms that invaded other Indian kingdoms. It is important to note that the concept of invasion is a complex one, and there is no single definition that is universally accepted. In the context of Indian history, it is often difficult to say definitively whether or not a particular kingdom's conquest of another kingdom can be considered an invasion. I hope this information is helpful. The Persians and the Sultanates conquered kingdoms on the Indian subcontinent in different ways and for different reasons. The Persians were motivated by a desire to expand their empire and control the trade routes between India and the West. They invaded and conquered several kingdoms in the northwestern part of the subcontinent, including Gandhara and Sindh. The Persian rule in India was relatively short-lived, lasting only about a century. However, they had a significant impact on Indian culture, introducing Zoroastrianism and other Persian influences to the region. The Sultanates were Muslim dynasties that ruled India from the 13th to the 18th centuries. They were motivated by a desire to spread Islam and to expand their own power. The Sultanates conquered a large portion of the Indian subcontinent, including the Delhi Sultanate, the Mughal Empire, and the Deccan Sultanates. The Sultanates' rule in India was much longer lasting than the Persians, and they had a profound impact on Indian culture, politics, and society. In terms of whether or not the Persians and the Sultanates were invaders, it is important to consider the context of the time. The Indian subcontinent was a highly fragmented region, with many different kingdoms and dynasties competing for power. The Persians and the Sultanates were simply two of the many powers that sought to control the region. It is also important to note that the concept of invasion is a complex one. In the context of the Indian subcontinent, it is difficult to say definitively whether or not the Persians and the Sultanates were invaders. On the one hand, they did conquer and rule over large portions of the subcontinent. On the other hand, they also adopted and adapted many aspects of Indian culture. Ultimately, whether or not the Persians and the Sultanates can be considered invaders is a matter of perspective.